Yo, 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 welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. It's the show that is convinced that Contavious Caldwell-Pope had a secret Twitter account during the Lakers championship run in the NBA bubble. And I just want to say congrats at tan508792994. That is definitely going to be my fantasy basketball team next season, which probably won't finish until 2022. That sucks, but also that means we're pretty much going to be insufferable champs for a very long time. Hope you're ready, Celtics fans. All right, let's start with some hot takes. According to Woj, Tyronn Lue has agreed to become the next head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. Lue, as many of you know, was not only the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers when they beat the 73-win Golden State Warriors in the 2016 NBA Finals, but he's also the guy Allen Iverson stepped over during the 2001 Finals when the Lakers beat the Sixers. So Ty knows what it takes to be a champion. I just wanted to give Coach his flowers right now because he's never going to sniff the finals as long as he's the coach of the Clips. Oh, and when I said finals, I mean Western Conference finals. Oh my God, I love being so petty. All right. So the Jordan Center Court, aka the Jumpman Stan Smith, aka sneakers MJ was wearing during the intro for the Last Dance documentary, is getting a holiday 2020 release. With the doc still fresh in people's minds, I wonder if Jordan still has that magic touch and that anything he wears during historic moments becomes instantly popular. I mean, he made the Air Jordan 2 work once upon a time. You know, if they want a sure thing, I would throw in those retro cards that they used to include back in the day. But instead of an actual shoe, it would just be like a picture of MJ laughing during the doc. Shout out to Frank's Sports Shop in the Bronx because after 50 years of stocking Nike products, the company has decided to cut ties with the nearly 100-year-old establishment. It's a long time coming as Nike has been severing relationships with their legacy independent store partners, including Frank's, who had been working with Nike since they were still Blue Ribbon Sports. It's like every rag to riches rap song where once somebody gets really big time, they forget their day ones. On the one hand, I totally understand Nike's decision from a cold business sense. But come on, the store's 92-year-old owner, Mo Stein, can say, "This is chutzpah" with zero irony. He deserves a tier 0 account just for that alone. And who is also surprised and disappointed that Kanye never named one of his many same-colored from afar Yeezys chutzpah? Maybe that idea would just get canceled. I don't know. Resellers are apparently taking a big L in 2021 when a number of classics from the mid-2000s and early 2010s are set to return, including the Lightning 4s, the Toro 5s, and the South Beach LeBron 8s. Honestly, I'm glad these sneakers are coming back because that means we get another chance at them. But I'm concerned about myself. I am now old enough to remember covering the South Beach 8s when they originally dropped, and now they're getting a retro release? We've been doing this dance for a long time, kids, and I want to thank each and every one of you that has been through it all. What? Do you think I was gonna go some long-winded soliloquy about my age? No, of course not. I'm fine. Really, I'm fine. It did get me to thinking though. I guess some guy on The Bachelorette declared that his job was boy band manager. Crazy, right? Oh, but it actually gets better because he's a manager of a cover band that does boy band songs. And here I was worried that sneaker YouTuber was too unrealistic or unappealing of a job title for that show. Being the manager of a cover boy band is like saying you have the best collection of Jordan 1 mids. Like, yeah, technically you have a pair of red Jordan 1s on, but we all know it's nowhere close to being the same thing. So earlier this week, Puma announced that LaMelo Ball has signed on to become let's be honest, the face of Puma basketball. I love J. Cole and the moves he's been making to try to get on an actual NBA roster, but this is different. The Dreamer isn't just a cool name for a shoe, it's how realistic Cole's chances are at the moment. I hope he proves me wrong though, seriously. Anyways, LaMelo, and I can call him that because the only Melo that I recognize as Anthony is, whether I want to admit it or not, a superstar. I don't mean that in the conventional sense, of course. He hasn't been drafted by an NBA team, taken a pop star to prom, won Rookie of the Year, or led a team to a championship. But what he has done with a little help from his family is become a brand even before he steps on an NBA court. To the kids and the Zoomers, he is Melo. He has millions of followers on Instagram. His signature shoe history began when LeBron James was just getting Reebok Question Player exclusives at the same age, and his game is ready-made for a generation that consumes their basketball content in 30-second clips. Lonzo had to crawl, and Jello had to do whatever Jello did for LaMelo to thrive. Instead of taking his talents to a big-time D1 school, Ball played for his dad's experimental development league that had socially distant crowds before it was cool, so he could showcase his talent. When that fell through, he went overseas, and other than a random highlight reel from Australia or a first take appearance by his dad, the kid kind of played in obscurity. Well, he played in obscurity for me. Through it all, his fan base was growing across the globe. They buy the Big Baller brand merch. They make the pilgrimage to see him when he does personal appearances, and they stand for him whenever someone on TV has the nerve to critique his game and wonder aloud if all of this movement is just a smokescreen to prevent him from being exposed to real competition. And if I'm a brand that's on the uptick and is looking to make another Big Baller move, signing LaMelo Ball sounds like a good investment. If I can make a Big Baller type proclamation here, LaMelo signing with Puma has the potential to be as fruitful for the brand as Nike signing Tiger Woods was after he won his third straight US Amateur back in 1996. The earlier someone becomes a star, the more ingrained and entrenched their fan base is going to be. Think about how invested LeBron's fans and Tiger's fans are in them and their success. For many of them, it's because they've grown up with Bron or Tiger. The attachment is a lot different than, say, fans of guys like Kawhi Leonard and Bryson DeChambeau, stars who rose to prominence later in their careers. Why choose those two specifically? No reason. None at all. So LaMelo's dad started him early on that path, and now his followers are going to have their Apple Pay ready to check out when his branded gear with Puma drops during the NBA draft. They are also going to buy RS Dreamers and Clyde Hardwoods in the colors of the team that takes him. And when his signature shoe drops, which I bet will get premium placement in places like Jalen Rose and David Jacoby's show on ESPN, they will resell surprisingly high, like maybe even higher than a limited LeBron drop. All LaMelo has to do now is live up to the hype, is win Rookie of the Year, be pictured with a Kardashian, Jenner, lead the league in a statistical category or two, plant seeds of a feud with another player on his weekly Twitch streams, start in the All-Star game, drop a diss track about Charles Barkley, make a deep run in the playoffs, and win the second bubble championship. Funny thing is, if he's even half as good as his dad and his stans have hyped him up to be, everything but the playoffs and the championship is actually realistic. Unless he's drafted by the Warriors. At that point, all bets are off. Could you imagine a kid with that potential under the learning tree of Steph, Clay, and Steve Kerr while having Draymond propping him up all day as a GOAT level talent? Yeah, no pressure. Good luck, LaMelo. I know that wherever you go, it's going to be a socially distant circus, and I wish you and Puma nothing but the best because, let's be honest, competition among the brands and their signature athletes can only mean good things for us sneakerheads. I'm just glad it's not going to be here in Los Angeles. We have enough things to worry about, like what a championship parade on Zoom is gonna look like. And now I have a prepared statement from my co-writer about the rumors that the Oklahoma City Thunder are looking to trade Chris Paul and that my Los Angeles Lakers could be making a move to get him. Look, I'm all for CP3's return to LA. He never should have been a Clipper in the first place, and now he finally gets to play for the one true Los Angeles professional basketball team. What I don't want the Lakers to do is to get rid of Rondo. If the trade happens, look, I need Chris and Rajon on the same team. I think they may try and fight every other day, honestly, but you know what? I'm here for the smoke. I know that'll be less annoying than bringing back Dwight, but that's a whole nother video. All right, let's check in with some of the hottest sneakers dropping this coming week in a segment I like to call the Heat Check, which would make sense because we're checking out the hot sneakers that are coming soon. Honestly, I'm just killing time here before the graphics load up and we can move on to what's actually coming out, such as the Nike Air Max 97 Halloween. These drop on the 20th for $180. I feel like this pair should come with like a Goosebumps book because the combination of slime green, purple, and glow-in-the-dark outsole is kind of straight out of the 90s. By the way, those books are actually scarier than you remember. Welcome to Deadhouse was no joke. That was scary. Then we have the Nike Adapt BB 2.0 mag. These are on the 21st for $350. We talked about the mag line last week because I don't think that Nike's strategy with these expensive kicks was going all that well, with the exception of the pairs that pay homage to Back to the Future Air Mags. I expect these to not be as easy to buy as other Adapts have been lately, so keep that in mind. And then we have the Air Jordan 35 Warrior. These are on the 21st for $180. From afar, you can be forgiven for calling these bread 35s, but they're actually a deeper meaning to the Warrior because it's actually a pair made for Jordan Brand athlete Rui Hachimura, who is half Beninese and half Japanese. It even includes the samurai logo that was actually designed by Rui's mom, which is a light flex if you think about it. Yeah, like my mom is so cool. She designed something that is now on an Air Jordan. It's like the rarest of achievements that you can get. Then we have the New Balance 2002 from Saleh Benberry. This is on the 23rd for $150. This collab between Saleh, who is actually the VP of men's footwear at Versace, and New Balance is a callback of the Antelope Canyons of Arizona. Another interesting fact about these is that it uses the sole of the New Balance 860 V2, which I honestly would have never noticed. There's so much nuance and history to these New Balance runners that I wonder what the interest would be on a deep dive into them. You guys let me know. Then we have the Air Jordan 12 Black Concord. These are on the 23rd for $190. It's not a Lakers colorway officially, and I don't think this was one of the mini PEs that Gary Payton wore when he was a Laker that one time, but we'll take it if no one else wants to claim it. Champ's privilege and whatnot. Then we have the Nike ISPA Road Warrior. These are in clear jade. This is on the 23rd for $500. So this would be my second or third attempt to grab a pair of these. You would think after a certain price point, Nike would just make these readily available since they're $500. And what company says no to $500? We have the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Natural. These are on the 24th for $220. These were formerly known as Abez or Abez. I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I don't know. They had religious names and some they don't. I'm just worried about some religious scholar looking up Abez in a few years and finding out that it's a Kanye shoe. I don't know. I just don't know about that one. If you want it, you know where it is. Then we have the pick of the week, the Nike KD 13 on Pearl. These are on the 24th for $160. Kevin Durant obviously is paying homage to his aunt, and it continues with this new pink hued release, as has been the case with previous models. Proceeds from the sales of these Aunt Pearls will go to cancer research and development of cures. All right, and now for a heat check on sneaker reselling, because no matter how hard sneakerheads might hope, there is no stopping this train. That's just the unfortunate fact. So earlier this week, eBay announced that they are going to launch a sneaker authentication service in partnership with SneakerCon to ensure that their customers are buying the real deal. It will begin initially with the most popular styles and eventually expand to any sneaker over $100 in 2021. Now, full disclosure, I have partnered with eBay in the past to talk about sneakers, but I think this move represents a huge wake-up call for them. Let's be honest, this type of service should have been available years earlier, and it also serves as a warning to platforms like StockX and GOAT. eBay finally getting into the authentication business and teaming up with SneakerCon is a little like Microsoft finally realizing that they are Microsoft and that in order to win the video game console battle, they're gonna have to do Microsoft things like buy Bethesda and make a lot of their games exclusive to Xbox. It started with like the waiving of seller fees for sneakers that sell above $100, which is kind of a big deal. And now we've got this authentication service coming up. That's a direct shot across the bow. Even though StockX and GOAT will always have their dedicated group that will be invested in their platforms, they don't have the size, the infrastructure, the years of loyalty, and the money that eBay has. I don't think this will be the end and that eBay will be the only place you can resell your kicks. However, I think this will be the beginning of a long battle for the hearts and minds and wallets of both resellers and sneakerheads. I just can't wait for the inevitable day when some kid wants to do the ultimate flex and walks around in a pair of Dunks with an eBay tag, a StockX tag, and a whatever GOAT does. I'm not actually sure with them. And now it's time for Hard Pass, where we take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like Nike SB. Or is it Warren Lotas? I don't actually know, because I feel like this issue digs deep into a lot of grievances and frustrations in the sneaker game right now. Lotas is in the news recently because he is being sued by Nike for his remake of classic Dunks, including the Heineken, the Stussy, and more recently, the Pigeon. Interestingly enough, Jeff Staple actually collaborated with Lotas on the Pigeon remixes, but Staple himself is not a part of the suit. Now, some of you might be offended by the use of the words remake or remix. Would you prefer custom or knockoff or fake? I feel like I'm jumping into a world that I don't really know too much about because I didn't really know about Lotas until recently. And even then, I'm not entirely sure what the deal is. Looking back at his history, and by that I mean I clicked on his tag on Hypebeast and looked through past articles about him, Lotas appears to be a young designer who has built a habit of adding his own flair to old pieces of clothing like flannel to make cool pants, as Kanye once said. There's a lot of barbed wire and macabre imagery placed on top of products already made for consumption. He also has a variety of NBA jerseys that I doubt were licensed by the league, where he adds his own spin on the team's logo or overall aesthetic. Like, he once dropped a collection of Demon Raptor jerseys based on the Toronto Raptors' original look. Not gonna lie, if Toronto called their team the Demon Raptors and actually played in jerseys like this, I think I would have to rethink my Laker fandom out of fear. Lotas seems like the type of designer who likes to wade into the nebulous waters of what's legal and what is downright gimmick infringement. And because he's been successful for a few years now, without a lot of friction from the brands he has borrowed from, at least not on the level he has to deal with at this moment, he was maybe feeling it and decided to jump into the sneaker world in a big way. He's done custom Air Force Ones before, but this foray into dunks is different. Lotas claims that his pigeon homage will take months to produce and use Italian materials. What's crazy is that these unofficial dunks are actually going for big money in the resale market. But his habitual line stepping on Nike's turf seems to have created this dilemma, and now he's got to deal with what I'm guessing are some very good and very expensive lawyers. In the filing in the Los Angeles District Court, Nike says that Lotas was promoting and selling fakes of coveted Nike dunks. According to the swoosh, Nike protects its iconic sneaker designs and its intellectual property in those designs by rooting out bad actors that undermine the DNA of sneaker culture by promoting and selling fakes, and that Warren Lotas is one of those bad actors. Nike is claiming irreparable injury to its business and seeking damages 3 times more than they incurred and for lawyer fees, etc. Well, that's a tough beat for Lotas, but I do think he has to suffer some consequences for infringing on copyrighted works. However, I think this whole reason why Lotas is even in the position to profit from making dubious dunks is because of Nike's gatekeeping of their rare sneakers and classics. Ironically, the Heineken dunks are trapped in their own legal drama from back in the days because they were unofficial collabs that were asked to be taken down. But the Stussies and the Pigeons? That's slightly different. If Nike really wanted to, they could bring back those dunks and render the pairs that Lotas made worthless. Because if you can get the real thing easily, why even bother with the unofficial ones unless you're a fan of Lotas? But because the original pigeon dunks are extremely difficult to find and extremely expensive, you start to talk yourself into buying a pair of Lotas's creations. And if it has Jeff Staples' approval, that's a hard thing to say no to. Not only that, Lotas actually created the thing that we've been begging Nike to do for a while now and step up a pre-order window, where everybody that wanted a pair in the time period could actually get it. I personally feel if Nike and Jordan did that for a handful of their collabs or retros, they would earn a lot of goodwill back. Depending on how you look at it, Lotas is either the hero who stood up to Nike and exposed the flaws in their system, or he's somebody who bit off more than he can chew and is now facing the consequences from a company that is just doing what they can to protect what is theirs. So, whose side are you on? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, guys. I am Jacques Slade. That's going to do it for this show. And I just want to say thank you for watching Hard Pass. I'll see you guys next week, but not before I leave you with one more reminder that we are the champs and that LeBron is reunited with his baby.
I can't believe you cheated on me the last 4 years. What is wrong with you? Bring your ass home when the lights come on.
Thanks for the gym, JaVale. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.